coming up on The
Like you said, I
Source.
want people to know this is an everybody issue.
Yeah.
This is happening across the country. Like, we need white people, we need Asian, we need all of y'all at the table when we're talking about policing, but do understand it's happening to us at a higher rate.
You're saying as a city council person that you cannot move forward, we cannot move forward with this board because the mayor does not agree and he's not going to put nobody on it. Change the legislation.
Like, we got to do this for the
If I don't
community.
care about you, you can say free all day. I'm not going to let it happen.
Because we have a reparations task force. They're going to come up with recommendations, but where the money going to come from?
And I'll be, breaking down each race a little further in once we have a fully set, knowing who else is going.
This is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
Sinead Darby.
And welcome to The Source. Well, today we find ourselves yet again in the middle of police issues. We've been talking about it since episode 1 about the issues with police officers, and now in Newcastle County, right there on Maryland Avenue. I guess there's a city limits when you go into the county. Right in Newcastle County, a person was shot and killed, and another one was injured fleeing. What do you know?
So at 7:40 that night, there was a shooting at the 7-Eleven. A unmarked police vehicle pulled up, and within seconds, the driver of the car, the guy who was killed, Andrew Elderman, he pulled off as he saw the guy coming at him with a gun. He was shot. His companion in the car, a young lady, she was also shot with non-life injuries, life-threatening injuries. The car swerved and hit another police car that was a marked police car with lights at that time. The whole interaction took place over 19 seconds. So from the instance when the unmarked police vehicle pulled up and the officers jumped out to the end of the shooting. I think one right there, then and there, this is what we saw in Memphis, right? When Tyree Nichols was pulled over. It was by an unmarked police car and they jumped out with their guns. They had already in their mind they were going to cause some harm. And I feel as though these Newcastle County police officers had that in their mind as well, too, that if he ran, he died. And, I say that because we just got the response from the Louisville Police Department about what happened with what was going on in the department when Breonna Taylor was killed in 2020, and then the follow-up, right, that led to the death of other activists in Louisville. And Attorney General Garland came back and said that there is a pattern of police um, violating constitutional rights of individuals in Louisville. In 2021, we wrote a letter to Attorney Garland and asked him to do that same investigation here in Newcastle. Since then, they have not opened a case yet, and that's probably because we have a district attorney who is a Republican, David Wise, who's pushing back on it. But since then, we've seen the death of Lamont Moses, right, who was running away from officers. We've seen 3 other incidents before this one that happened with Mr. Ellerman, in which individuals running away from Newcastle County Police were either shot, tased, or excessive force was used for no reason. This is now, another death here in Newcastle County. And I think, it's time to do an external audit of the police department, do a full investigation of the police department, and see if it's a pattern or practice investigation. here in Newcastle.
Yeah, I don't think they need to see. It is definitely a pattern of practice. But if I can just tie this in, for those of you who watch us and for those of you who are critics, this gentleman who was killed by the police officers in Newcastle County was a Caucasian brother. And it's not about whether you're white or black. It's about the mismanagement and the misuse of deadly force, as well as violating rights of citizens. Our issue is, yes, we do know that we are disproportionately affected by the killings of persons who are fleeing the scene. But this issue is an issue of brutality. It's an issue of police officers just doing what they want to do, and they are protected. I want to also bring something else up. As we were doing our research, we happen to go through the websites of all, whenever something happens, we just try our best to try to find as much information as possible. And we unearthed that even this young man, Ellerman is his name,
Mm-hmm.
his grandfather is a strong Trumper. And he made some comments, disparaging comments about we African American people, especially the people who were protesting just a few years ago, and how egregious and horrible. He didn't use that word. He don't know if his vocabulary would allow him to use that word, but how how they were horrible for doing this. Now he is in that circumstance himself. He now sees for himself. Although he's not asking for help, the wife, the grandmother, is asking for help. We're in this together. That's my point. We're in this together, and it's always the marginalized that find themselves hurt, harmed by the police. Something has to happen.
I agree with you. You never know when it's going to happen to you or your family.
Yeah.
And this is why so many people try to work to prevent things like this. And, we're not saying that it's going to stop 100% if we get our ideas implemented. We're saying that there will be accountability for when things happen like that. You look at Delaware right now, no officer, right, is being held accountable for police brutality. Now, they're being held accountable for some other things.
Yeah.
Or when it's so big and when we bring so much attention to it, the police department and FOP can't cover it up anymore. But we're not really seeing them prosecuted for their acts while on the police department. And that's the difference. That's what we want to see. They're assaulting people, they're brutalizing people, and they're murdering people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they should be charged with.
Yeah, yeah. And I were you going to say something?
No, you.
Okay. And I really I'm just disgusted by, after seeing this. Matter of fact, we have a little footage. Just let's take a look at this before I make any more comments.
All right, let's go to our other top story right now, and we have new details in a deadly police-involved shooting in Wilmington.
And there's also new surveillance video tonight here. Eddie Kadam out there at the scene. Help us unpack it all.
Yeah, Jason and Sheba, the person who died in this deadly officer-involved shooting has been identified as 22-year-old Andrew Edelman. He's from Newcastle. I went over to his house earlier today, talked with his family. They're understandably upset. They want to know why it had to happen this way. I also talked to police who say they had information that Edelman would be in this area and be involved in a drug deal involving a large amount of drugs, and when they went to arrest him, that's when the shooting happened. This surveillance video from Clark's cell phone corner shows a view of an officer-involved shooting in a 7-Eleven parking lot on Maryland Avenue in Wilmington. In it, you can see an undercover police truck blocks in the driver of an SUV. An officer gets out of the passenger side of the police truck with gun in hand, firing as they attempt to get out of the way of the SUV. At the same time, a police vehicle with lights on pulls up on the side of the building, and the driver of the SUV comes to a stop behind them.
Officers were aware that Edelman was going to deliver drugs at a specific location last evening at about 7:30 p.m. They were aware of the vehicle and the description of him. Officers attempted to apprehend Edelman, at which time he accelerated the vehicle and almost struck one of our officers.
Police say they attempted to arrest Edelman, but he ignored their commands. Edelman and a 21-year-old passenger were shot. She's at the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Officers found illegal drugs and a loaded assault-style rifle in the driver's floorboard. I talked to Edelman's family this afternoon.
Andrew was a good man. He was a family man. Today's his birthday. And I saw the video. That cop, he was just trying to get away. How do you know it was a cop? It was on my car.
No officers were hurt during the incident. The Criminal Investigations Unit and the Delaware Department of Justice Division of Civil Rights and Public Trust are currently investigating this shooting. The family says they want more answers from police as to what exactly happened.
He was loyal, he was honest, he was funny. He would give you the shirt off of his back. We want somebody to come and talk to us. This is not over.
The officer is a 10-year veteran of the division, and per policy, he will be placed on administrative leave. In Wilmington, Delaware, Eddie Kadam, Fox 29 News. Jason.
Eddie, thank you very much.
Just looking at that video, it shows us the disregard and the disrespect. Shows up in an unmarked car, blocks him in, he gets out, and they shoot him to death.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Again, it's I think Newcastle County, in their mind, that if you run, you die. And the person who has said that for years now has been Councilman Jay Street.
Yes.
He's talked about this time and time again. But you know what we saw in that video, and it's not a long video, right? It's
No, not at
19 seconds, the whole video, and you know now they're saying, "Oh, you got to wait and see the other video." Oh, now they want to release the body-worn camera. Where is it?
Mhm.
They're gonna do a whole production, and they're gonna have edits and
Add
voiceovers
that
and everything.
audio, 'cause the
Add
audio is missing.
audio, right? So no, just go ahead and release the full, unedited, don't change the audio, don't change the visual, and just release the full raw video.
That ain't
They
gonna,
won't do it.
that ain't gonna happen because they probably made some comments they shouldn't have made. It's too much. It's too explosive, as I would call it, for that to happen. That's
The officers involved have been put on administrative leave.
Mhm.
So I feel like for most cases that don't happen. I think they're moving a little bit more swiftly, but maybe because he's Caucasian.
Well, are they on administrative leave with pay or without pay? Do you?
With pay.
With
So
pay.
whenever an officer disarms
Yeah.
their firearm in Newcastle County, they're placed on administrative leave with pay until the Attorney General completes their use of force report. And then once their use of force report is completed, Newcastle County has to complete theirs as well too. But if the state comes back and says that the use of force was substantiated and they were valid in using that force, then they come back to the force while the Newcastle County finishes up their end of things.
And I know his family talked bad about like the protests and things that we were talking about in regards to like policing. And like you said, I want people to know this is an everybody issue.
Yeah.
This is happening across the country. Like we need white people, we need Asian, we need all of y'all at the table when we're talking about policing, but do understand it's happening to us at a higher rate. So we are screaming that in the forefront. We are yelling that, but this is happening to everybody.
Yeah, we really have to do something with police reform. We've been we and I don't want to get back on this message, but we have called for the last 50 shows for the mayor to produce a plan. And I know we're going to talk about Wilmington Police Department a little bit later in the show, but we need to be able to see transparency after what happened in Louisville, where the attorney general went in, did his investigation, came out with hundreds and hundreds of pages of horrible, deplorable findings. I mean, they called us monkeys. Nothing new to us, but throwing liquids on people, disrespecting them. And listen, this is how you know something is wrong, is when you have them doing it on video, not caring. And I think at some point we have to be taken serious. This whole Leo Boy thing, it has to keep coming back. And we're gonna keep talking about it until it unprotect people who are dirty. Because that's exactly what it's doing right now. I don't know.
I agree with you. And again, you know, as this continues to happen, we continue to put pressure on the General Assembly to do the right thing. We know that the FOP is trying to write a bill to say what they want to see with policing reform. I'm sorry, the FOP has had decades of opportunity to fix this problem. And then when people try to fix it, they push back.
Right.
So I don't trust a single thing that comes from them.
Right. Absolutely.
Because they are the same people, if they were doing their actual jobs of investigating and holding officers accountable internally, like the current law is written, we wouldn't have this issue right now, would we?
Absolutely. No,
We
no.
wouldn't be calling for the change in Leopold if they were doing what they were supposed to. But they have shown, not once, not twice, but for decades, they're incapable of doing their job, both internally and externally. So therefore, it's time for civilian oversight.
And I agree. I agree 100%. And I hope those of you who are preparing your hearts for 2024 to start thinking about individuals who will be for you, who will make sure that the things that we need to happen in our community, whether it be the Black community, white community, the marginalized community, that we have representatives who are really going to stand up and speak up and do something that will change the trajectory of where we are and what we're doing. I just, I really feel bad that we're at this moment, but it was good to be able to share that once again, we got on camera, I mean, in living color, they could have stopped him. They could have let him get away. They could have just chased behind him, but immediately jumping out of the truck with guns. And I know they're going to say, we didn't know whether or not he was armed. All right, well, once he's fleeing you, shouldn't you get out of harm's way? You should just get out of harm's way? But instead, you're shooting? I don't buy it.
And see, here's the thing. I sat in on the Yusuf report when it was first notified to the family, right? I sat right next to Lamon's sister and his wife. And his, I think, 1-year-old child who's never going to get to know her father, right? It had been almost 11 months since the shooting when we finally got that report. And in that report, it talked about how the vehicle, they had someone come in, study the tracks, study the trajectory, look at the video, that the vehicle was veering to the right of the officer who was standing to the left. So in my mind, that's not targeting an officer.
Right.
That's trying to get away from one.
Well,
right?
that's a normal yeah.
But it was justified by Attorney General Jennings and her department, Charles Oberly, Alex Meckler. It was justified because they said the officer who started firing, thought that another officer was over there. So therefore, because he said, oh, I thought, which they didn't say when they was first on the scene. They said that 16 days later because of Leopold, when they had time to talk to their attorneys, talk to other officers, and see all evidence, right? Because that's what the law says, that they're allowed to see the evidence being held against them. That's when he made the statement, oh, well, I thought someone was over there.
That's it.
He's clear now.
We have to be very careful. And for those of you who are critics who watch this show, you have to be careful to ask for help when the city and the county is in uproar. You have to be careful. Everybody's not going to be like the generosity of IMAC to let you come to a press conference and calm things down the way you may want to do it. There will be a moment, Kobe, when they're going to ask for help again. And I'm going to keep saying this, and I'm saying it so I can plant it in people's spirit. There will be a moment when you're going to need help. If you're not working now to solve some of the issues, when things jump off, it's your fault. Every elected official, it's your fault. There is no way in the world we can keep allowing the Attorney General, who has a case that I'm dealing with right now. At some point, we have to stop the politics and handle the citizens. I often said the meaning of politics is the poly from the Greek, meaning many. Ticks are blood suckers. At some point, we have to stop all these many blood suckers and start working for the community that you elected. And I'm not going to give up on that. I'm going to continue to talk about it. But if something breaks off, you're going to hear a voice that's going to stimulate the fire. And I'm just going to leave it there. It's not a threat. It's a reality, because you've been asked over and over again. You've been given more examples. Do we have to have more killings before we start moving in this police brutality area, in this police violating people's rights. Why do we have to wait until Breonna Taylor is dead? You can bring it local as we try to continue to keep it local. Why do we have to wait until those moments before we start looking to it? Nothing in that Louisville report was a surprise. Nothing. I see people on TV. I called them this and they did that. Oh my gracious, I can't believe it. Well, welcome to the world of the inner city marginalized community. This is what we have to go through. And it's not the community's fault. It's the elected officials' fault. I said it. I'm here to represent it, and I'm not going to take it back. I want to move on unless y'all have anything else you want to say about that.
No.
I want to stay in the same realm, but move on a little bit and just talk about how, and I saw in the News Journal this week, and thank God they're reporting something these days. I mean, they've been reporting, let's make a new soup, things of that nature. But I saw in the News Journal this week how a prosecutor convinced the jury that a Wilmington police officer lied after teen shooting. Convinced, and this is a big news. They lie all the time, but
No, I'm gonna say he lies all the time. So he's an ex-Wilmington cop that, within a matter of 4 years, actually shot 2 people.
Oh wow!
The first one was Jeremy McDowell back in 2015. He was wheelchair-bounded African-American man, was shot and killed, and he was one of the cops who did that. This 4 years later, Yaheem Harris, February 2019, somewhere around that time, he was shot 4 times by this police officer. He actually survived. He was shot in the chest. And I'm so glad he's here today to be able to at least tell his story. But he lied. He lied. He changed what the barrel of the gun.
That was shocked me.
And then when that happened, they dropped all charges to Yaheem Harris because now he's not a credible witness for the case. So we have that happening. So, we didn't quite get the justice like we want. Like, we want you to be held accountable for killing Jeremy McDowell and for shooting Yaheem Harris. We just got for him for lying, which, it's justice in a way, but not for the life that was impacted.
I don't think it's justice because I just want to I want to say this about this trial, right? Why, yes, the prosecutor got them to convict him on a misdemeanor.
I was going to go there
for lying.
Yeah.
Misdemeanor for lying. The same jury and prosecutor, though, failed to get him convicted on the felony of evidence tampering. Now, if me, you were to tamper with some evidence, guess what? We go into jail.
Absolutely.
But yet this officer, who's supposed to be entrusted, right, with all this power and community trust, not only tampered with evidence, lied about how he shot someone, lied about seeing a gun on someone, which Yaheem was unarmed, had no gun on him, couldn't find one.
And was shot while
running.
Yeah.
Shot him in the back. And you know what? This administration, Mike Pizicki, Chief Tracy, who's now in St. Louis, they both sat there and said, our officer did nothing wrong. We don't have these issues in Wilmington.
Yeah.
This isn't a Wilmington issue.
It's a national one.
It is so, and y'all covered it up with the help of David Karras, who's the communications person for the police department, and try to spin the narrative that Yaheem was some violent criminal. But guess what, y'all? We're still wrong because whether someone commits a crime or not, it is not the police's job to be judge, executioner.
Injury,
Injury and executioner.
Yeah. Right.
He tried to kill Yaheem.
Yeah.
He tried to kill Yaheem. And then the police department harassed his family continuously.
Yeah, I did hear about that as well.
Continuously. Not just Yaheem, but his mother, his younger brother.
Yep.
So that's what was happening under Chief Tracy's control of his department.
So if they caught him lying, why can't they believe that he lied and tampered and other things in
because
other
they ain't
parts
pushed
of it?
that hard.
Wow. So they pushed to get some kind of conviction, but it needs to be a light one. It needs to be a light one, but not something that will cause him to go to jail and have to pay for the crimes he committed. And you said twice? This guy he's been on a police force for how long?
I don't know how long he's been on the
Oh,
police force, but in a matter of 4 years, he was
okay. It's
involved in two police shootings, one
one.
that ended in death and one where Yaheem Harris.
Both of them are high profiles in the state of Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
And the best they can give him is a misdemeanor. You lied.
That's it.
Man.
That's what they gave him.
Man. Why? Where is that
Then-
justice?
David Karras puts out these statements with Chief Tracy. Oh, he's a former officer. He's a former officer.
Yeah.
He was in uniform with your badge and your gun that y'all didn't know he had tampered with when this shooting took place.
They may have.
This is on your hand. Actually, they did know because McCall actually went to a conference down in Florida.
Mhm.
And when he was down there, one of the training officers realized the gun sounded a little different. Checked out the gun and knew that it was a different barrel than the standard issue and reported it to Chief Tracy.
Oh.
They did nothing. When this shooting took place and he switched the barrel, he submitted his gun to evidence. When he did that, the state does an investigation where they look at the bullets that went into Yaheem and the other casings and everything, and then they take that gun and they fire that gun. It's the forensics analyzing of it, right? They fire it into a little chamber. They check the bullets to make sure it's the same and match up and everything. It's the same way if they had a bullet, they're looking in their system to see if they can find it, right? Well, they couldn't understand why the marks on the bullet, and each gun fires different. It leaves different marks on the casing. They couldn't understand why it wasn't matching up. Why would a good standing officer, a good apple, do this?
Yeah, because he wasn't a good apple.
So they did more research into it, more investigation into it, open up their own case, and come to find out he switched the barrel of the gun.
But is it too late for them to bring charges? See, I hear the initial charges may have been he was found not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, then guilty of lying. But then when they found out that he did change out the gun, that's tampering with evidence.
No, they went after that,
Okay.
but he was acquitted of it by the same jury.
Okay, so how about an appeal? Where's the appeal at?
I don't
I
know.
don't think they're going to go that
I don't
far.
think they're gonna appeal
Not that far. That life is precious.
They're not going to appeal.
That life is precious. Oh, so unless you have money, unless you got influence, you get your first little run, and that is you go before a jury, which probably could care less about most of the people that are sitting there looking at, and all you're gonna do is let it go there. Trump is still out of jail, and Trump done did everything under the book because he got enough money to keep delaying. At some point, we're gonna have to show value of the lives that they're representing. I just don't understand. I just don't. Is the Attorney General running for an office beyond Attorney General? Okay, I don't want to ask y'all this question. I don't want to ask y'all a question, but I want to throw it out there. I hope the Attorney General. I hope you paying attention. And even Mr. Mayor. I mean, I hope you're paying attention. I mean, even some of you who are just letting things just happen. Oh, we can't wait until 2023 when we can start really just analyzing all the candidates because we're gonna do that. Oh, yes, we are. But he lied, and he got guilty of lying, misdemeanor. But everything else, he's good.
But he tried to justify the reason why he had an aftermarket barrel, right? Is because he needed it to have better accuracy.
Oh my God.
Well, I thought they get all this money for training.
Oh my God.
You know, your
Better
councils
accuracy.
voted on all this money, right? The
Yeah.
council you sit on voted on all this money to help them be prepared. And he still can't shoot a target without changing a barrel and then lying about it.
Yeah.
And then you can actually get permission to change the barrel for that reason.
Oh,
And he chose not to.
because I don't want nobody to know. Because I know I'm gonna go out and kill me a couple of those blacks. Or as
And
the
you want to be
Louisville-
more accurately to kill
Yeah.
somebody. That's
or as the Louisville police department revealed, the monkeys and the this, that, and the others, because they only see the marginalized as animals, as non-human people, and I think that is horrible. And for those who sit in their cozy, cushioned positions, who may even look like us, and not doing anything, you're just as guilty as those who are. And this is not Shanae saying it. This is not Kobe saying it. It's the one who ain't running for no office anywhere and hope at some point to retire shortly. I'll leave it there. I got one more thing I want to cover, and then I'm done for this segment. Unless y'all wanted to go any further on that. I want to talk about, and I'm not going to talk in detail because it's under now the case is moving. I don't want to violate anything, and then they say because I said something on the show, they couldn't move forward with the case. But the FOIA has been requested for the note, the minutes, as well as the violation of city council with all of these appointed positions. And I'm running into the same issue that those who are marginalized run into. And that is, the political powerful get together, have their little meetings, and they come out with a decision that is very gingerly. I have already heard through the grapevine several things. I'm not going to say anything today because I want to wait until I get an official response from the Attorney General's office. When I get a response, because I know what I asked for, and what I asked for is what should happen, given the fact that that was an egregious violation. What is the difference between intentional and non-intentional? The difference is when you don't know and you make a mistake, that's not intentional. You just had something happen. You go vote and something. But intentional is when you're told don't do it, and you do it. You got all the information not to do it, and then you choose to do it. And the harm is that you did it intentionally, and now we got a whole lot of stuff going on, a lot of voting going on, a lot of politics going on, and it's not right. So I'm gonna leave it there. And when I get the official response, I'm gonna lay everything out, and I'm gonna share with you the responses of the city. I'm gonna share with you the responses of me, and I'm gonna share with you the response of the Attorney General, because it's important for you to continue to see how we are treated as animals. If there's no other comments on that, I'm going to go ahead and call for a commercial break, and we'll be right back. We'll be right back.
Are unmarked police cars legal? Stick around, and I'll answer that question on today's Q&A. Welcome back, guys, and as always, thanks for sticking around. Now, let me start by thanking all of my new subscribers who are just joining us, and thank you to all of my faithful subscribers who have actually been with me from the very beginning. And of course, if this is your first time with us, please hit the subscribe button and join the Cops Court and Coffee family. Now, this particular question about are unmarked police cars legal comes from a longtime friend, KG, who asked this very question of me during the course of conversation. And I actually explained that was actually a very good question, and I'll have to do a video based on that question. So the answer to the question actually depends on a couple of reasons, like what state you may be in and what the unmarked vehicle is actually being used for. So depending on where you live, the answer could be either yes or no. Now, here in New York, there are very few restrictions that are actually in place regarding the use of unmarked vehicles, unlike in California, where it is actually illegal for unmarked cars to be used for speed-related enforcement, and it can be viewed as entrapment if they stop you for speeding. So basically, the laws on the use of unmarked police cars vary from state to state. And listen, if you aren't doing anything illegal, then there's really no reason for you to be concerned if the car that's behind you is an unmarked police car or not. Now, that being said, if you are being pulled over by an unmarked car and you have some doubt as to its legitimacy, then wait till the end of this video for a link to a video that I did that should help you address those concerns. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope this answered the question for some of you. And remember that the information that's provided here is not legal advice. And if you find yourself in need of any type of legal assistance, please contact an attorney to guide you accordingly. Until next time, remember, guys, no one cares like we do. And I'll see you all in the next video.
And we're back. Before we get started on your corner, Sister Shanae, I want to say congratulations to all of the powerful, successful women. We don't want to lose the show today and forget about it, because sometimes we get so into what's going on that we forget. So while it's on my mind, I just want to say congratulations to all of our women who have held and have been the glue to our community and to the community at large and within humanity. Congratulations on all of your accomplishments. And on behalf of The Source, we appreciate you. We value you, and we look forward to continue to working with you. We won't allow the few bad apples to make it look like y'all are not doing all the powerful and most positive work that you do. You do a phenomenal job. And on behalf of The Source, we say congratulations, and we look forward to a stronger years to come. Well, and saying that, Sister Shanae, you got your white on and you looking
Yes.
very powerful today. What's going on with Shanae?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to give a few updates on Wilmington Police Department. We know we have a new chief of police, Campos, first Hispanic, so I'm excited for that. However, I'm waiting to see what type of chief he's going to be. I heard that he's working on some more community-driven initiatives, and he's willing to have conversations with city council people. I know I have reached out to him, and he's been very responsive. So I'm waiting to see what happens, but I still don't believe in the system, because to me, it doesn't matter who the chief of police is. It's going to operate the way it's supposed to operate, which is the police violence, police harassment, the things that are happening in the community. I think it's hard for one person to just change that. We're probably going to see a few different things, and I think just really looking at that, because we still don't have our external audit. So last year, City Council put out a piece of resolution that said we had no confidence in our chief of police at the time, Tracy. Along with that, we asked for an external audit to happen. I don't hear any pressure from City Council this budget session on that external audit of the police department. The mayor administration promised it to us in the budget last year, allocated funds towards it, but still has not used the money for the external audit to happen on Wilmington PD, which will really give us a comprehensive look at what needs to change externally, internally, and interactions in the police department. We still don't have that, and I think we still need to have that, even with Chief Campos. Like those are crucial things, and it's not. I don't think that even with Chief Tracy gone, I think there's still issues or problems that need to be resolved, and it hasn't happened yet. And then we look at the other things that have been established, like our Civilian Review Board. It's been established. We have 2 years of funding for it. However, we're not able to actually have meetings because the mayor administration will not appoint people to the Civilian Review Board. So as of today, he currently has refused to do it and said he wrote an email stating he's not in support of it, and he will not be appointing anyone to the Civilian Review Board. And the importance of the Civilian Review Board is for community partners and individuals to come together to review misconduct from police and to be able to recommend things to, improve the department or for that individual to be held accountable. And right now, I think it's important to collect the data needed to prove why we need future reforms like Leo Board, the Law Enforcement Bill of Rights, which gives police officers further protection so that their record or misconduct is not public record. So we can't hold them accountable if we don't know what their record is, right?
Well, but can I just ask you a question real fast? You're doing very well, but you said that I thought could you, as a city council person, introduce legislation to take off his appointment and just say a 5 review board and take him out of the equation? And the reason why I'm saying that is because the purpose for that, I see it, is to make sure that the civilians or the citizens of Wilmington is treated fairly, have the right process to policing, and have a good oversight board. I don't even agree with having the mayor appointment on there because that makes it more political.
I agree. And I'm all for that. I will put up that legislation today. However, the best thing I heard, I remember I was running for office and council member Sam God told me, remember, this is a team sport, right? So number one, Chris Johnson is the one who even established the Civilian Review Board. It was his legislation. So he's really been in meetings back and forth with the mayor administration trying to convince them. He is not going to go totally against the mayor administration.
Put him on record.
Yeah, Chris Johnson.
No. Do the legislation, put the vote on the floor. We can't say he won't until we see he voted against his own legislation.
Right.
I don't think the mayor needs a vote in that. I think that the city council can now change the legislation or put up legislation saying the review board and it consists of, so that you can move forward. If you're saying as a city council person that you cannot move forward, we cannot move forward with this board because the mayor does not agree and he's not going to put nobody on it, change the legislation. Let's not let them outsmart us.
No, yes, and it's changing the legislation, and it's having 6 other people on council who's willing to go against the administration, and the administration has the funding to even fund the civilian review board. So if we change that, and then we're like, oh, we need $20,000, they can keep giving us the runaround on getting the money from them.
Yeah, but it's already in this budget, this cycle. The money is there.
It's already there.
All right. And if we can't fight for, see, this is what the problem is. I see it. We are allowing them to the administration to just do what they want to do, and we sit back saying, well, we can't do anything. You can put legislation, and we got to be able to say, like, remember, Cody, we used to say who voted for what bill? We gave the people, and we put it on the screen and put the pictures up there so that their citizens will see that they don't want a review board, and we don't get it, and we don't want to hear this. I didn't agree with all the details, so I decided to vote against it. No, the overall precedent is we need a civilian board. And it needs to hold the police department accountable. Put the legislation up there and let's see which ones go against it. And then we're going to put it up there because election time is coming. It's coming. You got to, I'm a researcher. I believe in research. I don't believe in just emotions and just saying things. If you put it up there, I will assure you on this show, we'll slow it down and we'll say, these are city council members who are against holding police accountable or against doing a review so that everybody can be treated fairly. If we don't do that, they're going to continue to just be quiet.
No, I agree, and I'm willing to do that, and I have been requesting for that, but I feel like they keep pointing me to Chris Johnson to work with him. So I'm supposed to have one more meeting with him, and then from there, I'm gonna make a decision on what he's saying in that meeting.
Please let us know what Chris Johnson's response is to that, because then we'll put him on blast as well.
No, I agree.
Because at the end of the day, this show consists of a national person, a local pastor, and a city official. And what we're trying to do is to get inside because nobody else is a voice for us. The News Journal stopped reporting news. WDEL report what they want to report. So some of the things that matters most comes from this show. And I'm saying at this point, we're going to keep putting it out there until they respect this show, and then they're going to start doing what is right.
I agree. And then just one more thing, the community response team. So I've been working with the Law Enforcement Action Partnership, which is a national police organization that believes in establishing community response teams. So these are people, non-emergency 911 calls, right? So that we'll have a team of people, mental health, social workers, alcohol and drug counselors, abuse advocates. They will be able to respond to the homelessness population. They'll be able to handle those instead of having police respond. Right. So I've been working with the Law Enforcement Action Partnership. They're willing to do an assessment of our police department to be able to establish a community response team. It initially cost $50,000. It was going to be in the budget this year. LEAP called us back and said, we have a grant that we secured. You don't have to pay for it at all. I've been in talks with, not me personally, but my city council staff, with the administration on establishing this, because you need administration buy-in. They told me that they are not interested in the assessment and establishing a community response team. So now at this point, I could just have LEAP come and do the assessment, but I'm going to get pushback to them getting information because everything is through the administration.
Well, so then if I were you, I'm not the legal person.
Right.
But if I were you, I would just do it and then report that the mayor is blocking.
Right. No, that's what I'm doing.
He's going to run again for election. Let's not get it twisted. He's going to run again, and there's a couple people who will still vote in our community and others, but we're going to make sure we bring it out. And that's why as we get closer to 2023, we start doing things that we can prove.
Yep.
We can start sharing things. So I think you should move forward, and I think you should have them come in.
I told them let's move forward with it.
Yeah.
So we're moving forward with it under city council and not with the administration. Not because I don't want to. I have reached out to them. I said, hey, I have this great program. They're going to pay for it. Let's do it. Let's get a community response team set up. And they have told me no.
And once they do that, they're gonna do an assessment so that they can tell you the things that we need, right?
Yep. So
oh, we need that turf. We need that really bad. We need that.
That's
We
exactly
need that.
what we
And that's
need.
called research, and that's showing the proof why we need it. Without that, all we do is have a lot of conversations. And that's what some folks who live in those expensive communities want it to be. All those folks down here on the east side, those folks in certain parts of the north side, they're just always crying. But if we have the research to prove of what we really need, the mayor is forced.
And they don't have to pay for it. Their
Yeah.
grant was established for it. I don't know what the problem is. Like,
Oh,
why
I know.
wouldn't you
Just
take
give me
it?
the problem.
I know what the problem. What I'm
Oh.
saying is, like, come on, like we got to do this for
If
the
I don't
community.
care about you, you can say free all day. I'm not going to let it happen.
Right.
So that's the issue. There is no care or concern about black people, especially in certain areas of the city.
I agree.
And that's a shame. We'll be right back. And we're back. Welcome, Kobe. What's going on with the Kobe Corner?
Yeah, so first I want to talk about a program. Last week we talked about Senator Marie Pickney rolling out a new probation reform bill. And at that forum, Delaware State Housing Authority said that they're working with Senator Marie Pickney on a new program. Well, not a new program, but revitalizing a program that should have been more active. So our state housing authority secretary, Eugene Young, went in and saw that in 2018, DSHA, Delaware State Housing Authority, said that they were going to take the lead in creating a pilot program with a New York-based venture institute, Vira Institute for Justice, to help fund family reentry program, right? So what this program does is it allows for individuals leaving the custody of the state, right, the corrections facility, to live as a guest in public housing with any close family member for 1 to 2 years. What this allows is for that person, right, because they're a guest, the program allows for the person to earn an income without impacting the relative's eligibility to remain in the unit. This allows for individuals to get back on their feet, and it reunites families that have been broken because of our criminal justice system. It's something that they've been using in New York, as well as in other places as well too. The one who's going to be overseeing this is Devin Manning, and again, this program stands out because it's a very rare statewide effort of all 5 of the state housing authorities, right? Wilmington, Newark, Dover, Newcastle, and Milford, with the state as well too, working together to really move this forward. So
Yeah.
it's going to be exciting. The program technically launched in 2019. We all got hit by a pandemic, so it really hasn't been what it should have been. But Eugene really wants to dive into this and really believes that this is a way to help individuals who are returning to society be able to stay out and lower our recidivism rate here in Delaware as well.
You know, we don't get a chance to really talk a lot about a lot of the, whether it be elected officials or those who are appointed in various positions who do help the community. I give him a kudos. Kudos, because he has really been a champion in certain areas, and this is stuff we're in need of. People who have been away from their families, now they're able to come back, but not being put out because, or the whole family getting put out because you found a person in the house. I think this is just awesome. I'm sorry.
But yes, I think this program is a much needed program. I look forward to seeing the build out of it and for it to be up and operational and for it to be fully funded as well too, and making sure that there is no backlash for individuals who are taking their loved ones back into their homes as guests.
Okay.
And hopefully in that 2-year period, that gives them enough time to build up enough money to be able to find other housing.
Right.
But again, partnering that, You still need to have jobs there for that community, for those who have been justice involved to come back to as well too. Um, but speaking of criminal justice reform and probation reform, the Delaware State House, in a vote of 28 to 13, passed a bill that eliminates penalty for the use or possession of marijuana for personal use. Um, quote unquote, legalizing weed, right? I think this is a major step in righting a wrong, in which the consumption levels are the same between African American communities and white communities, but the arrest rates are a lot different. This bill passed last year. It passed both the House and Senate last year, and the governor vetoed it, and it failed to get a veto override in the House. This go around, you have 3 people who voted no last year, voted yes on it. The only Democrat to vote no on it was the Speaker of the House, Pete Swartkoff. Everyone else voted for this bill. It goes to the Senate now. It's going to be heard in committee next week. And it has a companion bill. So this is HB 1, legalizes weed. HB 2 is the structure to tax it and for selling, right? So who can get a license? What's the whole build out for that?
So wait a minute, just to make sure I understand. So you're saying we're not saying it's legal. We're saying that your penalty won't be as strong. What are you saying?
No, it is legal.
Oh,
The second part is making it legal to sell, just like a liquor license.
right. Okay.
You would have to go get a marijuana license, right?
But
To sell it
well,
as a distributor.
and the reason why I think if Jay Street was here, he and I would be on the same page on this one, is that I agree with you that the African American community have been penalized much higher than the other communities as it relates to the use of marijuana.
We use it at the same rate.
But we do use it at the same rate. But so that's the injustice.
Yes.
I think I would have voted to deal with the legislation part of it. I don't know if I would agree, because I watch what weed is doing to our community, to our babies, and the freedom of being able to just smoke weed, and some people I see.
So again, this is for the age 21 and up, same as drinking.
I
Same
know,
as
I
drinking.
know, but I'm gonna let it be what it is. I'm glad I'm not elected, but I'm not for the. I think that we need to deal with the marginalization of a lot of things that's happening in our communities. I ain't with the weed thing. So if y'all come on this show with weed, that's gonna be y'all last show.
I don't smoke weed. I don't.
That's this
don't do
week.
weed. I
That's
got
this
no-
week. Now that it's legalized, you might have some next week. I don't know.
I don't
No.
do it either.
But the second part, HB 2, permits individuals over 21 to possess, use, and purchase or transport at least 1 ounce.
How big is an ounce?
28 grams.
How big is 28 grams? Like a cup full?
Come on now. It's been a while since I did a math class. And you know, this new math changed everything too. But no more than 5 grams can be concentrated in one individual. This also is the licensing and the taxation for as well too. So this is what's going to be used.
Oh, geez. She just showed me what a gram is. That's a lot of weed.
What a individual, a business can come in and start selling as well too. This also creates a community impact fund for those communities that have been disproportionately targeted by this law to reinvest into those communities, right? So this fund would be a state fund that, let's say, a local community center, or if the community wanted to build a playground, they can go to this fund and get money as well too. And the fund is supposed to help stemline entrepreneurship amongst those who've had prior marijuana charges, right? So if they now want to start their own business, they can go to this fund and get some capital to help start them on that process. And there's going to create some programs from it as well too.
Selling weed or drugs in general is you have to be a really good entrepreneur.
I know, like use those skills somewhere else.
Yeah, those are great
I'm not gonna let my bias get it away. I'm gonna keep talking. Y'all keep talking.
No, but with that piece of legislation, I know on the city level, we started a reparations task force, and I think it's important that legislators kind of look at how we can tap into getting reparations through the legalization of marijuana. They have done it in other cities and states where the revenue that and the profit that was made off of it went into paying for reparations for Black folks, African Americans specifically, so that they're able, like they have like a housing program and like pay down your down payment, right? So like having those type programs is what I'm really interested, because we have a reparations task force. They're going to come up with recommendations, but where the money going to come from?
Yeah, but this is where I'm stuck at. Okay, because I was
What are
gonna
you
leave it
stuck on?
alone.
You still stuck on the weed?
I am. Because in Greenville, there's not a liquor store in the middle of all those houses. In East Side, there's a liquor store on every corner.
Correct.
What is going to end up happening is it's going to overflood our community. We just won't be penalized, which I don't think we should be penalized at that level different than anybody else. It's just, do you know the effects? Matter of fact, I'm going to do a Coffee with Curry show, and I'm going to talk about the effects of weed. Because from the impotency for men to the ADHD of our children, it is high. And people don't know that moment of getting high, some of the effects of it. People pregnant, smoking weed because I can. I don't believe in controlling people's lives. But I do believe that we don't read, we don't get true education on stuff, and we partake of. And I'm just not there. So me and the governor's in the same boat there. Me and the Speaker of the House, whoever y'all said. But I know Kobe is not. I know. Okay.
Yeah, I'm all for legalization.
Sorry. Next item on your list. On this show, we don't have to agree.
We don't.
Amen.
We don't. But again, I think, I'm going to keep everyone updated as it goes through the process yet again.
Yes.
Now that this one's over with the Senate, and HB2 will be heard in the House soon enough. Just to let everyone know, the House and Senate are back, right? They're back from their JFC break, which was all of the month of February. They were doing the markups for the governor's budget. So they are back. They are going to be voting. I'm going to keep y'all updated on what's in the works, what's going on, and where everything stands. One last thing for the General Assembly. On March 15th, SB 1, the right to representation, it's a bill that we've talked about a lot. We had Cheyenne Miller come on and talk about it as well, too. It will be heard in committee. It's the Senate, House, and Land Use Committee, March 15th, 1 p.m. You can sign online if you want to listen into that. My last point for today. And again, I came onto this show almost 2 years ago, right? Talking about two things: police reform and school boards. And we already hit police reform. So it's school board time. It is school board time here in Delaware. If you look, there's still a few outstandings that still need to be placed up there. People have filed in every seat. It's just they had to get a background check, so their names may not be up there, and can't be made public yet. But please pay attention to what's going on here in the city of Wilmington. In my district, right? I live in the Brandywine School District. We have two individuals who filed for two different seats, so we have no election, right? They automatically get back on. The area that I live in is District A, and we're represented by Reverend Shanika Perry, who is doing amazing work on the Brandywine School Board, and she's also the new president of the board for the Wilmington Learning Collaborative. I'm glad to see her back on there.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
For Red Clay Consolidated School District, they have two seats that are up, seat A and seat D. In seat A, the current school board member, Adriana Bohm, has chosen not to run again. Dr. Bohm has been a powerhouse for the city of Wilmington and for the kids in the Red Clay School District. And the individuals who are running to replace her have huge shoes to fill. District A also has a seat on the Wilmington Learning Collaborative as well, too. So that person will also have a say in what's going on with this new system that they've set up in the city of Wilmington. But these are all for 4-year terms. And there's a total of 3 people who filed for District A seat and 2 people who filed for District D seat, which is the Ellesmere area. The thing is, you vote for both seats on the ballot, and it's the entire district is voting. So I really need people to pay attention to dive into who the candidates are and really look at what they can bring to the table, not only for your community, but especially for our youth, especially as we're building our way out of this pandemic, and addressing the learning loss that happened over the pandemic and other things in our educational divide as well too. So please pay attention. The other school district, I believe only one person filed in Colonial, which is the current member for CA. And seat C, both of them filed. But Ron Handy represents CA, which is part of Southbridge area. And then for Christina School District, neither of the seats that represent the city of Wilmington were up, but there was 2 seats up, seat C and seat E. I just want to say for seat E, the current school board president, Dr. Keelan Powell, has decided to retire. Dr. Keelan Powell has really revitalized that school board in the school district, and she will be missed. So it again, pay attention to what's going on, who's running. I know a lot of these candidates who are running, and I'll be, breaking down each race a little further in once we have a fully set, knowing who else is going to be in the race as well too.
Good. Well, it has been a whole lot of news today.
Yes.
I'm telling you, it has been a whole lot of news, and I'm really grateful for y'all who work with us on this, on the source, to try to give our community the best we can and keep them informed. Thank you, Kobe. Thank you, Shanae, for all that you all do. I want to continue to say that on the air and off the air because you bring us good, valuable information. We're getting close to our 100th show. You heard Kobe say almost 2 years. Yeah, we're getting close to that 100th show. And that's what we already talked to Jay Street. He's going to come back and be a part of that 100th show anniversary. I don't think he's going to do more than just that one. But so far, we have our original team, and Shanae has been with us for a nice amount of time now. And I hope you will continue to watch us week after week. We will do all our best to give you the truth and to give you what is happening. If ever you want to get in contact with us, please feel free to call us at area code 302-652-9114 or send us an email at media@ezionfairchurch.org. Again, media@ezionfairchurch.org. Until the next time, this is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
Shanae Darby.
See ya.
Take care, y'all.
Talk soon.